What is a blue moon? India lands on the moon, and a update on that TRAPPIST-1 exoplanet system coming right up with Astronomy and Coffee. So you may all remember last week we had something called the blue moon. It's also a super moon. Well, I got a text message from my sister. She's asking me what exactly a blue moon is. What is the origin of the name of the blue moon? Why is it called that? Is it actually blue? And it got me thinking because I never really thought about this. So I want to talk a little bit first about that blue moon last week and the origin of the name of blue moons. So let's go over here, take a look at the moon real quick. So what exactly is a blue moon, and where does that name come from? What does it mean? All that jazz. Well, there are two definitions now when it comes to a blue moon, and it doesn't have anything to do with the color. So the first definition is by how NASA uses it. It says that a blue moon is the third moon within a season which contains 4 full moons. And the second definition is how people use it today, which is the second definition states that a blue moon is the second full moon which occurs in the same calendar month. So if you have 2 full moons occurring in the same month, then the second one is going to be referred to as a blue moon. So it gets a bit deeper than that as well. Well, we get the word month from moon. This is because the cycle of the phases of the moon lasts approximately 1 month. So we experience 12 full moons each year, 1 full moon for each month. Well, many cultures have given distinct names to each month's moon. There are 12 moons, there are 12 months, there are 12 names. However, the moon phases actually take 29.5 days to complete the cycle. So that means, if you've been doing the math with me here, that means it is 354 days to complete 12 lunar cycles. So, that is to say, every 2.5 years or so, a 13th full moon is observed within a calendar year. Ooh. This 13th full moon doesn't conform to the normal naming scheme and is referred to as a blue moon. Okay, so where does the name blue moon come from? And if it doesn't have anything to do with color, why is it called that? Well, according to NASA, in 1883, a volcano called Krakatoa erupted and it spread ash as high as 50 miles into the atmosphere. Now, the tiny ash particles acted as a filter, scattering the red light and turning the moon a kind of bluish-green color. So it's believed that these rare events where atmospheric conditions changed by the volcanic eruptions contributed to the turn of phrase once in a blue moon, which means it's a rare occurrence that happens once in a blue moon. So this phrase, once in a blue moon, became synonymous with rare events. Now, there's also some folklore surrounding some old colloquialisms referring to blue moons as well. One example I found was that people would refer to a blue moon in reference to the possibility or the impossibility of something like, same thing as like whenever people say when pigs fly, same thing. It's, whenever the moon turns blue, they would say, it's like, I'll date you when the moon turns blue, as they might have said back in that time. Well, basically, there's not really a clear-cut answer to where and how blue moon, the expression, quote-unquote, blue moon, came into the culture as a turn of phrase, but the reference and the well-known nature of blue moon played a part in the common naming scheme of calling that rare 13th month in the year, or that second full moon in a month, a blue moon. So speaking of moons and our moon, India has recently landed on the moon. And it's kind of weird because I haven't seen a whole lot of this being talked about in the news for some reason, but it's pretty significant. India is now the 4th country to land on the moon and the first country to land on the South Pole region. So India launched their, I'm going to butcher the name of this, Chandraayan, I'm thinking it's pronounced, the Chandraayan. Okay, look, here's the name. This spacecraft on July 14th. It reached lunar orbit on August 17th, and it touched down on the lunar surface on August 23rd. So as I stated, they are the fourth nation so far to reach the moon, and following behind the US, Russia, and China. So congratulations to them. They're also the first, like I said, to land on the lunar South Pole. So 2 hours after this landing, ISRO, which is the Indian Space Research Organization, they posted images to X, which was formerly Twitter. I'm gonna go ahead and keep calling it Twitter. So they posted these images to Twitter showing the moon's surface as it descended. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Now, well, soon after this, a solar-powered rover called Pragyan, again, here's the name. Okay, it translates to wisdom. It rolled off its lander, and this is also their second attempt at trying to land on the South Pole region. The first attempt crashed on the surface after a software glitch, but the South Pole region is thought to harbor large amounts of water, and, well, large amounts of water ice. There's no liquid water on the moon, but if this is accessible, this ice water on the moon, if this is accessible, it could be mined for rocket fuel and life support for future crewed missions. Crewed as in people going there as part of a crew. So, pretty interesting stuff from India. Well, you might remember a few years back, there was some interesting information and news coming about from a system called the Trappist System. It's the first time we were able to discover a handful of potentially habitable planets surrounding a star. Typically, we find large gas giants surrounding stars and orbiting stars. Rocky planets are a little bit harder to find and to discover. Certainly not the type of planets that we have here in the Trappist system, and certainly not the number of these. So, it was believed that all of them were potentially habitable, but they've been studying the system and they have come to the conclusion that the one closest to the star is just way too hot. Let me take a look here at this system and go and visit this system up close. Now, of course, these planets that we're going to be looking at in this Trappist system, these are artistic representations of what they might look like. Of course, we can't view them like this, so this is just an artistic representation of what these planets might look like. But kind of going back a little bit here, the discovery of this Trappist system was quite an exciting find, quite an exciting day when this was released to the public. And now these planets in this particular system here, this is the most studied planetary system aside from our own. It lies about 40 light years away, and it consists of 7 rocky exoplanets orbiting a red dwarf star. Now, at first, it was believed that all the planets had the potential to be habitable, but new evidence has come out stating that the TRAPPIST-1b planet, this is the most innermost planet, it is too hot to even have an atmosphere. Well, one of the reasons why the discovery of this system was so exciting is because it's rare for us to discover those rocky planets around these stars. It's much easier to discover large, Jupiter-sized gas giants, but these rocky planets are much, much harder to discover. It's believed that some of these planets may contain more water than Earth in the form of water vapor in the atmosphere, and the planets farther off may have water ice. As far as this TRAPPIST-1b goes, the astronomers that have been studying this already knew that this planet was too close to its star to harbor life, but now they believe it's also too hot to even have an atmosphere. So it is too hot, and it is not as hot as Mercury, but it is still pretty hot. Now, Mercury is around 700 K, which is 700 Kelvin, and the TRAPPIST-1b is about 530 K. 530 Kelvin. That's somewhere between 400 and 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, they do have to look at the other planets still, and they still have to examine these and see what all of this means for these further planets out. These planets are a bit farther out from the star. But it's not boding so well, because one problem for these worlds being habitable is that the red dwarf star they revolve around could have had a very active youth. And it's the star's early activity that could have stripped away these planets' atmosphere a long time ago. So right now, the best hope for a habitable, liquid water-based world, this would be Trappist 1's E, F, and G planets around those stars there. And so there you have it. There's the Trappist 1 system. And that's going to be about it for this week. Look at this. A new Stedman P-pop filter. Took it from my house. Well, there's also some upcoming events at the Louisiana Art and Science Museum. Most notably is going to be this weekend. Let me pull this over here. This weekend is going to be the debut of Beautifica, the new show from the people behind Mesmerica. Many of you came out to see Mesmerica. This is the same type of show as Mesmerica is. Different music, different visuals, different show altogether. Quite an experience here. And you can get your tickets at LASM.org. On that site, you'll see the James Hood's Beautifica link, and then that will take you to a place to buy your tickets in advance online. And you can come here and hang out with us and view Beautifica. Very unique experience. Also, a limited time run, so it will not be here that long. Also, we have the 38th annual Gala, Out of This World. This is going to be October 6th at 7 p.m. and I will be here dressed to the nines. But yeah, so you can go to the website and you can check out this gala link here if you're interested in seeing the gala. What does this say? Let me go ahead and read it to you here. Join us on Friday, October 6th for an astronomically entertaining night of fundraising during LASM's annual Gala Out of This World, celebrating 20th anniversary of the Irene W. Pennington Planetarium. So, also we will be lighting the dome. We've had this dome lighting project that's been going on, and we will be lighting the dome outside. We've been trying to get this thing lit for many years. Finally, we have the dome outside lit up. You can see it as far away as the bridge. You can see it from miles away. It's going to be quite the jewel of downtown Baton Rouge. And with that, thank you all for staying with me for Astronomy and Coffee. By the way, the coffee I have today is going to be this espresso mocha. Did not realize it was 170 calories. So, anyways, I will see you next week for Astronomy and Coffee. Drive slow, walk fast.